Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, General.
Good to see you,
I'm going right to municipal pension reform.
Go.
All right. So you probably knew that. I probably would be. You know, you've issued a number of reports recently over the last year or two, you also issued an update on your municipal pension report, and recommendations were included in that update to add underfunding of municipal pension plans. Bills were introduced. I was one that introduced one last session to address the issues of the municipal pension plan underfunding and plan management. But unfortunately, you know, it's a tough body. You've been here. Right. Didn't gain any traction. And I'm sure you're also aware, when I look at this problem, we know we had the problems with CSRS and PSRS and the unfunded liability there. I guess the point is, we struggle with that. We're going to have the same problems, or maybe you can just kind of explain too, if we don't address municipal pension funding issues here in the Commonwealth, what would be the near-term concerns for that and for what I would call distressed, or those that are having issues statewide? Maybe you can expound on that.
Thank you, Representative, and thank you and Representative Grove for your leadership on this issue. And first of all, it's an honor to have the Speaker here as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for being here. And I want to stress that this is one of the least talked about, but one of the most critical issues for our municipalities and for public safety across Pennsylvania. The unfunded liability by our own department's estimate of the state of Pennsylvania, when you're talking about combining all the municipalities across our state, is approaching $10 billion. That's with a B, $10 billion. Philadelphia is probably about 60% of that, but this goes from townships and boroughs and cities all across our state. It is so extreme right now in the city of Scranton that they are basically forced to sell their sewer authority to have an infusion of cash into their system. And I know that that is a very controversial issue in the city of Scranton, but they are looking at, you know, which of our lesser evils do you do? And to my understanding of municipal officials all over Pennsylvania, they are dealing with decades of bad decisions from their predecessors that they're forced to confront with. So think about that $10 billion situation. Number two is municipality after municipality all over the state of Pennsylvania are dumping their police forces. I know one of the issues that, you know, this legislature, to its credit, addressed transportation funding. And I know, again, another controversial issue, but to the credit of this General Assembly, addressed transportation funding. One of the reasons why more roads and bridges aren't getting fixed is because I think it is closing in on $700 million is being used to fund local police protection from the motor license fund via our state police, because every time a municipality dumps their local police department, the state police has to take over it. And so there's now about 2/3 of the land mass in Pennsylvania is covered by our state police. So that's the public safety side of this. So the longer this crisis goes, and it is a crisis, the more expensive it's going to get to fix it. That's A. B, the more it's going to put strain on our road and bridge funding, because I'm telling you right now, I speak to all these mayors. And by the way, it is Democratic, Republican. You know, I don't know if we have any independent mayors, but if we did, they'd be in the same boat. This is a non-ideological issue for these mayors. They literally can't make their payments anymore. So our department, I believe at the request of the governor, we put together a task force report that we think put a lot of middle ground, common sense solutions on the table. I know you and Representative Grove have legislation on this as well. We also, look, I'm not naive about this. It's going to take a negotiation with our public safety unions, you know, with the administration, with this General Assembly, but it is getting to the point where the cost is going to be even worse if it's not addressed.
But the reality is we are in a crisis stage.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we absolutely have, it's throughout the Commonwealth we have municipalities, but there are a couple right now that are on the brink, and we need to deal with that. And I think you make a good point. It exasperates the problem when people are going to the state police. They can't pay their police and firefighters, or police in particular, and it gets more problematic. Just one quick follow-up question. I think I have a little bit of time. In reviewing the municipal pension aid reports that are out on your office's website, I see that some municipalities receive some ad hoc municipal pension aid payments. What are these payments for? And then how is it determined which municipalities do receive those payments?
Well, at the legislation that was passed last year and signed into law by the governor, we've recently taken over the responsibility of PERC when it comes to municipal pension.
Correct.
So we are in the process of really trying to upgrade that system to get it more technologically advanced. What used to happen was it would take many months for these payments to get processed, and sometimes payments would get missed. Sometimes, basically, the old PERC system was basically pencil and paper. I wish I were making that up. So some of these ad hoc payments are, in a sense, making up for past payments that may have been missed or where the calculations were off and the municipality was owed more money.
Does it have any?
Representative, I have to cut you off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We were